The soil of Willow Creek Valley was black gold. Arthur knew this. He could feel it every morning as he drove his plow through the earth, the rich, dark soil turning over effortlessly, promising another season of abundance. His farm was not just land. It was a living, breathing thing that had sustained his family for generations. It gave him strong hands, a full belly, and a quiet life. But lately, the silence had started to feel heavy. The predictability of the seasons, once a comfort, now felt like a cage. Every night he'd look at his calloused hands and see not the pride of hard work, but the stain of a small life. He was haunted by a single venomous thought. Is this all there is? The thought became a whisper, and the whisper found a voice the day a stranger came to town. The man's name was Silas, a merchant with eyes that glittered more than the trinkets on his cart. He spoke of faraway lands, of men who had stumbled upon fortunes, not by plowing fields, but by finding stones that shone like captured stars. Diamonds. "A man with your ambition, Arthur," Silas said one evening, his voice a low, persuasive hum. "You're digging for pennies in the dirt when mountains of treasure lie waiting. I've heard the stories. Rivers in the south choked with them. One good find, just one, and you would never have to work another day." That night, Arthur couldn't sleep. The word diamond echoed in his mind, a glittering promise of everything he wasn't. It was the sound of escape, the sound of importance. He saw himself returning to Willow Creek Valley not as a farmer, but as a king. His wife, Mary, saw the fever in his eyes. "This farm is our diamond, Arthur," she pleaded, her voice trembling slightly. "It's real. It feeds us. That man, he isn't selling a dream, he's selling a fantasy." But Arthur could no longer see the value in what was real. The slow, patient wealth of the harvest felt like a mockery compared to the explosive fortune he imagined. "Patience is for old men, Mary. I need to build a life, not just live one." He made his decision. He put the farm, the black gold, the generational legacy, everything up for sale. The people in town thought he was mad. The offers were insultingly low. Finally, a quiet man from a neighboring town, a farmer named Elias, made an offer. It was a pittance, barely enough to fund his journey, but Arthur was desperate to be free. As he signed the papers, he looked at Elias, a man with simple clothes and patient eyes, and felt a surge of pity. This poor fool was tying himself to the very soil Arthur was escaping. He was buying a prison. On the day he left, he didn't look back. He couldn't. He was marching toward his destiny, a man of action, a hunter of treasure. He walked away from a certainty, chasing a glittering, magnificent what if. The world, Arthur quickly learned, was not a treasure chest waiting to be opened. It was a vast, unforgiving expanse of rock and dust. He joined expeditions in scorched southern deserts where the sun beat down like a hammer, and the only thing he found were stones that burned his hands. He climbed treacherous mountains in the east, his lungs aching in the thin air, chipping away at cliff faces until his fingers bled, only to find worthless quartz. The money from the farm vanished like a puddle in the summer heat, first on supplies, then on guides, then on false maps sold by men with the same glittering eyes as Silas. Soon he was selling his tools, then his coat, then his pride, working odd jobs just to eat. The dream of returning as a king faded. Now he just dreamed of a warm meal. Years bled into a decade. His back, once strong from plowing, was now bent with fatigue. His face, once full of restless ambition, was now a hollow mask of desperation and regret. He was no longer a hunter of treasure. He was a ghost, haunted by the memory of rich black soil and the scent of rain on his own land. He had traded everything for nothing. One evening, huddled in a filthy tavern thousands of miles from home, he overheard two prospectors buzzing with news. A monumental discovery had been made, a diamond mine of unimaginable scale, the largest the world had ever seen. A spark of the old fire ignited in Arthur. One last chance. "Where?" he demanded, grabbing one of the men by the arm. "Where is this mine?" The man laughed. "It's not some new frontier, old-timer. It's in a quiet little place no one ever thought to look. A valley they say was nothing but farmland. A place called Willow Creek." The name struck Arthur like a physical blow. It couldn't be. It was a mistake, a cruel joke. Borrowing his last few coins, he began the long, agonizing journey home, a terrible hope and a darker dread warring in his heart. When he finally crested the hill overlooking the valley, he stopped, his breath catching in his throat. It was unrecognizable. The quiet landscape of his youth was now a bustling town, filled with new buildings and surging with people. And in the center of it all, right where his old farmhouse used to stand, was a massive operation, a sprawling complex of machinery and offices. And on a giant sign, visible for miles, were two words that shattered his world: The Elias Diamond Company. Arthur walked down into the valley like a man in a trance. He found Elias not in some lavish mansion, but by the same creek where Arthur used to water his horses, watching the water flow. He was older, his hair grayer, but his eyes were the same, patient. "Elias?" Arthur's voice was a dry rasp. The man turned and recognized him instantly. There was no gloating in his expression, only a quiet, deep sadness. "Hello, Arthur." "How?" Arthur whispered, gesturing at the empire that stood on his old land. "Did you know? Was this some trick?" Elias shook his head. "I knew nothing. I bought your farm to do what I have always done, farm. I picked up a rough, dull-looking stone from the ground. For the first year, I just worked the land. I cleared a new plot for corn right by this creek. As I was digging, I found a strange-looking stone. It was heavy and had a curious glimmer to it." He looked at Arthur, his gaze profound. "I didn't think much of it, so I put it on my mantelpiece. But then a few months later, I found another while plowing the north field. And another. I wasn't searching for anything, Arthur. I was just tending to what I had. The wealth wasn't in some faraway river. It was right here, mixed in with the soil, waiting for someone to simply do the work." The truth landed on Arthur with the weight of a mountain. He hadn't just sold his farm. He had sold the greatest diamond discovery in history. He had walked over a fortune every single day, his eyes so fixed on the distant horizon that he never saw the treasure scattered at his feet. He had the land, he had the time, he had the opportunity. The only thing he lacked was the patience to cultivate it. Arthur's story isn't just about a farm, is it? It's a story about us. How many of us sell our greatest assets for a pittance because we are chasing a fantasy? That steady job we abandon for a risky venture we haven't researched. That small investment portfolio we liquidate to chase a speculative stock. That promising business we give up on because it isn't an overnight success. These are our farms. They are our diamond fields. The greatest opportunities are not found in some distant, glittering promise. They are buried right under our feet, in our daily lives, waiting to be cultivated with patience, discipline, and vision. Wealth is rarely discovered. It is almost always built, slowly and deliberately, by tending to the ground you already own. If you believe that true wealth is built, not found, that patience is the most powerful tool in your financial arsenal, then you've found your community here at Money Minds Tales. Subscribe and join us. Let's learn to recognize the diamond fields we're already standing on together.